Hi, everybody. Whew. Okay, so I'm gonna give it a minute. But today I'm going to talk about grounding and being grounded. Pretty much just the overall everything of it. And kind of like why it's important and what it is, how to ground, for everybody. And so, thank you all who are here. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, I'm just gonna give it a little longer. Hey everyone coming on. Hi guys. Alright, so I'm just gonna get started. Okay, so grounding. What is that? I'm gonna go over everything that has to do with grounding that I am being guided to today. So, grounding. Grounding is where your mind, your body, and your spirit are all in the present moment, where it is all in the now. And, you know, a lot of us go through times where we are up in the clouds, up in higher dimensions, and our higher vibrations, and we forget to ground. And some of us, and sometimes we are too grounded and hold on too tightly and in the lower realms, and you know what, that's okay, that's all part of the process. But you know why it's important to ground, I'm going to get to that later on in the video, and it is for everybody. Whether you think you need it or not, trust me, everybody does need to ground, and I'll explain why. But you know, when we ground, we bring our minds, our bodies, and our spirits right here in this present moment. And, you know, grounding is for everybody, because if you, I mean, especially those who are too grounded and those who don't ground enough. If you are one of those people that have, you know, finally, you know, awakened and come to the point of, you know, being in that higher state of consciousness where there's no duality, there's no separation, it's all just illusion, there's, you know, everything's one and the same, there's no such thing as balance. You are up in those higher realms, okay? You're up here. And while that's all really good, you know, all of us need to awaken to that, and we are. But after we go there, we like to stay there. And because it feels good, it feels like home, because that's where we came from. We came from oneness. We came from unity. And you know, so we like to stay there. We like to fly. We like to remain at those higher vibrations at all times and never like coming back down to earth. We just like staying up there. And the thing about that is that's awesome, okay? I know that it's a wonderful feeling, but I found out the importance of grounding even after being in those realms where grounding isn't needed. I found out the hard way on why it's important to ground anyways, because, you know, I had a rude awakening, and I know a lot of people who have as well. Some people are born flying, and they never ground, and then they have a really rude awakening on grounding, and they're kind of forced to ground, and when they do ground, they find out where they're at is undesirable, and they don't like it at all, and so they try to go back up, and it's just an endless, vicious cycle, and it turns into a pattern, and it becomes very destructive. And when we wake up, we start to, you know, realize oneness and unity and higher vibrations, and just, this higher consciousness that we reclaim and regain and relearn. We like to stay there, but what this is if we stay up there, it's like, in the physical world, there's a lot of, clues and examples of our spiritual worlds and other dimensions as well. And in this earthly plane here, when we don't ground and we stay in those higher levels in the light spectrum, for example, I'm going to use the light spectrum. We stay up in, the ultraviolet rays, and our energy is like this. It's fast, it's pure light, it's who we really are, and that's what we are being. But it's still chaotic. It's chaotic, and it's ungrounded, and it's potentially dangerous. Just like, for example, I have a wire right here to my computer. These is plugged into the wall. If this wasn't here, if this strip right here, the rubber part, wasn't here to ground the electricity that is going through this, I could get electrocuted. Someone can get hurt. I could get hurt, and bad things happen. But this helps it to stay all in one spot. It helps it to direct the energy where it needs to go, and it helps it to do what needs to be done, rather than being scattered and depleting its energy while just being dangerous to itself and others. And that's exactly like us as humans. If we spend a lot of time up in the higher levels of consciousness and we decide to stay there because it feels good, because it feels like home, because it's our natural state, truly inside of ourselves, we do become potentially dangerous. And sometimes we actually reach these enlightened states, and we wake up just to be we wake up from the system and the programming just to be enslaved by our ego. And this is where we understand the way that things work. We understand everything's energy, everything's an illusion. And yet here we are enslaved by our ego by saying, I know more than you do, or I'm enlightened and you're not, or I know I have the all-knowing, or anything even close to that. That is where we lose this grip on this energy, this new energy that we find, or this energy that we tap into. We lose the grounding of it, and it's scattered, and it's just all over the place. And and we begin to, we think we see the illusion of everything just because we know everything is an illusion. But when we keep ourselves from being grounded, we keep that energy up there. It stays up there. It doesn't come back down here. So where we think we see something, we're not. And when we think we're not seeing something, we are. And that's because this energy is just all over the place. It's not grounded. We're not keeping it, directing it to where it needs to go and to where we actually want it to go to, because it's staying up there. It's staying in that chaotic, energy, and it's chaotic, but because it's just so fast, it's so high vibrational, and it's a blissful place to be, but it's still, we think we can just completely transcend being human, and while we can in spirit, our physical bodies are still here on earth and still grounded. And what we need to do to be grounded is bring all of this knowledge and this wisdom and all of what we have found and bring it here. We bring it here in the now, or otherwise it just stays up there and you can't do anything with it. We think because we feel good, we're manifesting things easily, we think everything's going okay. But if you were to come back down, eventually you're going to be jolted back down well, until you lose this physical body, until, you know, this body is 6 feet under, into the ground, you know, you're going to be jolted back down. And because your spirit is residing up there, while you're here, your body's here, your mind is somewhat here, it's kind of in between, and your spirit is just in the other realms, exploring other dimensions and things like that. You're going to be jolted back down, and you'll find your body feels like crap, because when we're up there, we know we don't need food, we don't need anything, you know, there is no attachment, there is no balance, there is no separation. But when we come here, okay, for example, I'm going to ask you a question. Is that not black and is that not white? Right, that's the eyes. That is this physical dimension that we are in, where this is black and this is white. But when we stay up here, we see that as, no, that's not black and white, that's one. But we keep it at that. You know, we stay there. And that is dangerous to our bodies, it's dangerous to our relationships, and just everything here on the physical plane where there is black and there is white. And they are separated yet not separated. And in grounding it in, we bring the knowledge of that's separate and yet the same. You know, that is black and that is white, and yet they are one. That is what the yin yang is, by the way. You know, we bring it in. We ground in the energy. And why this is important is because if you are residing up here in the higher realms, who's going to take care of your body? That leaves room for other beings, entities, other energies to slip in and, you know, slip in and kind of play with you, play with your reality or anything like that when we don't ground it in. Or, you know, we have these fears and this thinking that we think we've transcended, but we still need to work on it in this realm and in this dimension, in this earthly existence, whereas if we stay up there, we're just ignoring it. And grounding it in, grounding all of what we learn when we finally reach a state of enlightenment, and again, enslaved by the ego is by thinking you're enlightened and you have nothing else to learn, or thinking you're enlightened about a certain subject or anything like that. You bring it in and you realize, you know, this is bringing it in. It's coming back to earth and saying everything is one and yet everything isn't. That can be a complicated understanding, but I'm also going to talk about those who are too grounded, who have no idea what I've been saying so far. With, you know, grounding this energy in, we bring it into our physical existence, and this is where, you know, alchemy comes in. This is where magic comes in and things like that. This is where nature comes in, because what nature does is it brings all of this creative, chaotic, high vibrational energy and brings it into physical manifestation. And when we ground this higher vibrational energy in, we are able to bring it to physical manifestation rather than it just staying up there and us convincing ourselves that we know all, or we see all, or we are bringing these manifestations into fruition, or anything like that. The thing about that is reality is easily manipulated when we stay at that high vibrational frequency, but so is the illusion. We can trick ourselves into thinking something is happening, even more so if we are not grounded. And so, you know, and here things are black and things are white, but in grounding the higher vibrational energy in, we know that they are still one. It brings the balance back into reality. It brings your mind, your body, and your spirit back into your physical body and this beautiful earth that we've chosen to reside on for this time. when we're up there, we forget the beauty and the playfulness, and we forget just how amazing Earth is and all of the things that we have available to us right in this very moment. We're too busy, being elsewhere rather than where we are right now. And that's something that goes for those who are too grounded. When we're too grounded, we hold on too tightly to this earthly existence. We hold on to material things. We hold on to expectations, and we become, even then we become lazy. We forget about our purpose. We forget that we have control over our lives. We forget about the beauty as well that this earth is. And when we're too grounded, we take things a lot seriously or not seriously enough. And same with, high vibrational frequencies. We take it too seriously or not seriously enough. And grounding it in, bringing it to the middle of the light spectrum, we remain grounded. We're able to be the bridge between Earth and those higher dimensions, and we become more powerful than we think we are when we're just residing in one. And with being too grounded, those are the people that had no idea what I was talking about at first, and that just held on to their five senses, and we kind of been conditioned and programmed to stay that way and be that way, is staying too attached to the physical world where we believe that nothing else exists, and with that we just become unhappy because we're not connected to a natural state. We are too grounded. Yes, that is possible. And it's possible to be too much of anything. With this physical existence anyways, right? You have too much water, you drown. You have not enough water, you die from dehydration. That's just this physical earthly existence. And that's why it's important to stay here and maintain it. Because if we're too high up there or too low up there, or too low down there, then we forget about here and now, and we forget about bringing our mind, our bodies, and our spirits to this present moment, to the now. And we get too attached to our ego if we're too grounded. And for example, I'm not saying I'm perfect and I've perfected this. No. I just went through this before this video. I was too grounded. I held on to a certain expectation, but I was able to notice that, bring awareness to it, and say, okay, rise up a little bit, come back to the middle of the light spectrum, and relax. Let go and trust. And, and just finding that balance, because this is still black. Physical eyes, okay, to our physical eyes, illusion or not, this is still black. This is still white, and that's just it. This and things are like that because it's less boring that way on Earth. If we stay grounded, we realize just how funny and playful and amazing and beautiful that Earth life is if we allow ourselves to be the bridge between the lower and the higher, and rather than residing in just one. And it's appealing to our eyes to see things this way. But why is it appealing to our eyes to see things in separation? Because in those higher realms, everything's just energy. And in those lower realms, everything is just, let's see, what's the word? Everything is just completely separated. But it's appealing to our senses, and bringing it all into the now, it becomes even more appealing, more joyous, and more just amazing, because we have the knowledge and the wisdom and the power of the higher dimensions, and the grounding and the beauty and trying to find the word, but of the lower dimensions, and we bring it all here into the now, and we can do whatever we want with it. And we create our reality to be whatever it is. If we're too grounded, we tend to become really unhappy. Those are the people that have power struggles, ego struggles, that go through the same lessons over and over and over and over again, experience the same kind of things over and over and over again because they're too attached to expectations, outcomes, and this physical world. And these are also usually the people that don't believe in a higher power or anything like that, is when they're too grounded. Because if you can't see it, hear it, taste it, smell it, see it, or I don't know if I said that, then it doesn't exist and it's not real. It's not, whatever. That's being too grounded, and bringing yourself back up, and grounding it. And by the way, I'm gonna explain how you can ground and everything, You bring it into the now and the present moment. Your mind, your body, spirit is here, not up there, not down there, not over there. It's here now. Being here now is the closest that we can be to everything and anything we can imagine. Being in this present moment, we feel blissful and we feel at peace. We feel grounded and elevated. We feel high vibrational and just the right of low vibrational. We have that balance. We become the yin and the yang. We become the light and the dark. And we bring it into the whole and the unity that everything already is. We become that. We don't just talk about it. We don't just know it. We don't just not know it. We are it when we do this. We are the unity. We are the oneness and the wholeness. And we are happy, and we are blissful, and we have an understanding of why things happen the way that they do. And we see the magic and feel the love and feel the beauty. And we are all of it when we bring ourselves into the present moment, into being grounded. And this is why it's, grounding is important for everybody. Being too grounded, you can go into nature, and nature is the most amazing thing for grounding, because it won't bring you too low into grounding, but it won't bring you too high either. It brings you into the middle of that light spectrum, and it is perfect because it just is. I mean, nature brings the creative energies of the higher dimensions and the grounding energies of the lower dimensions, and brings it into one, and shows us just how powerful it is to be in the present moment. Because nature doesn't worry about the future. It's not saying, am I going to grow? Is this going to happen? It's not worried about the past and saying, oh, I've been set on fire before, so should I grow again? No, it's growing now. It's just being, it's just flowing, it just is. And that is what grounding is. It is just being here now. It is bringing your mind, your body, and your spirit into the very present moment where everything is achieved. Right now is right now, and right now is right now, and right now is right now. Every passing moment is now. And that is grounding, being in every moment as they are, not holding on to what just happened, not holding on to what will happen, holding on, or just being here now. And it's important for everyone to do this, because then we really connect. Because being grounded, we are the closest to Source or God, or whoever, whatever you call it or believe in, that we can be. Because everything just is when we're grounded. And we are able to be focused. We are able to understand. We're able to connect to all and everything and people and our relationships better than ever, than we ever can, by being grounded. And you know, and when you know you need to ground is when you're either to that point of where you don't feel like you need to ground because you're in those higher dimensions and you know that grounding isn't needed. Up there, it's not. Down here, it is. Then you need to ground. And be open to it, because though you feel blissful up there, there is nothing compared to being grounded in this human existence. That is why you're here. Why would we be human if it wasn't supposed to be fucking beautiful? You know? Why would we choose to be human if it wasn't supposed to be freaking amazing? And it can be if we unlearn and relearn what we've been taught about everything, and be grounded. And another way you can know if you need to be grounded is if you're too grounded, you bring it up a little bit, you raise your vibration a little bit, you and this is where I'll move into what you can do to be grounded in the way that helps you experience the bliss, the true bliss of being grounded. You can dance, you can sing, you can play, you can write, you can draw, you can create music, you can go out into nature, build a garden, make a garden, create some magic, do something that brings you into the present moment, where you are able to face yourself and see, and when we're grounded, we're able to see parts of ourselves that need to be healed, okay? But we don't see it as a punishment. We don't see it as a burden. We don't see it as something something completely undesirable, as we do when we're too grounded. And we don't see it as something that doesn't even exist at all by being not grounded enough. We're able to face it with that higher understanding and do something about it in the physical with the grounded sense of awareness. And you know, a lot of people just hang on so tightly to everything. They you know, I mean, I have before too. I mean, sometimes I do, but you know, I've gotten to that place inside of myself where I know how to see it and become aware of it and do something about it. You know where I need to be in that moment. All it is discipline, self-discipline, and self-love, and lots of inner work. But and you know, I'm able to bring this to you now because I've experienced it all. I've been too high up there that I needed to get jolted down, and I found out my body was an undesirable place to be. I found out my existence. I didn't actually want to be here in this existence. I wanted more. And I've also been too grounded, where I was attached to material things, and I was going through patterns, and I just you know, saw things so negatively. I've been there, and I've also now finally been able to get to the point of where I am grounded, and nothing is like that. I'm a star seed. I am not even from Earth, you know, and I'm always wanting to fly. I'm always wanting to run. And I can say now that nothing is like the experience of being here now in the present moment on Earth. And there's lots of, you know, if you talk to guides and spirits, ask them what they think about it. Ask you and your higher self what you really think about it. And I almost guarantee that Earth is the most sacred place that we can be at every moment. It is. Earth is so sacred and being here now in the present moment with this living being we reside on is, there's nothing more amazing than that. And you know, as I say this, I'm not saying ground and never go back up. No, when you grounding, you're able to bring that, all of that, into the now. And all of what you've learned from being too grounded, you're able to bring it up into the now and learn from it and grow from it. And okay, I've got the who, what, when, where. And where to ground is right now, because that is what grounding is, right now. And you know, finding the balance, because in this existence, you know, you may reside up here and you're like, there's no balance, everything's vibration, everything here is an illusion, so I don't need to go back there, I can stay up here. You still have this physical body. Yes, it is important to ground. It's important to come back to your root chakra where you and earth connect. And if you're too grounded and you're in those lower chakras and you're too hanging too tightly to ego and, you know, this physical world, then bring it back up and start finding the beauty in you know, spirituality. No, I don't mean religion, I mean spirituality. And you know, it's important for everyone to do this constant work of just going with the flow of the light spectrum, because that is what Earth is for. You know, that's why we came here. This is what we're experiencing. You know, live it, learn it, love it. And you know, so I believe that's all I have. I'm gonna look at the comments right now, because I had the comments off so I can stay focused. But you know, we're all gonna experience all of it, but that's where bringing it into the now comes in. We find the beauty and the joy of it. I mean, it truly is beautiful. There's nothing more sacred, nothing more amazing than being in this present moment in the now. And you know, we do this by doing something that brings us into the now. Meditation, that's another way of doing it, as long as you're, you know, focusing on either your breathing or your body or just around here. That's grounding as well. Picturing yourself as a tree and growing roots into the ground, that's grounding. Talking to Mother Earth, heck, doing something to help and nurture Mother Earth, that's grounding. And you know, it's just finding the balance. And so many, you know, gurus and messiahs have tried to teach us this, but we hold on so tightly to what they've said that we make a religion out of it. And it's just all part of the game. It's all part of the learning. And it's beautiful. You can see the beauty in that when you're grounded fully and completely. And, you know, it's just, I mean, nothing is more amazing than just focusing on that breath. Nothing is more amazing than being in your body. And if it's undesirable, if you're too grounded and or not grounded enough and your body and your life is an undesirable place to be, the beauty of free will is being able to do something about it. It's being able to bring your innate knowing and ability to heal your body at all times, no matter what it goes through, and the grounding sense of knowing that you need to do some exercise and change your diet, and bringing it to one so that it can happen in full power. And that's the same with, you know, the law of attraction and manifestation and all of the 12 laws of the universe. Is if you want to manifest something, you can think about it all day. Think about it. But if all you do is that, and you don't take action on it, then that's where it will reign. It will remain and reign. it'll remain in the mental world. It'll remain in the higher light spectrum. And, oh, Erin, it's actually, I appreciate that, but it's www.theinneressence.net. Our Inner Essence is actually the group where I created for everybody to share their truth. So, that's all I have to say on grounding. But if you would like to share your truth, go on this page, and in the pinned post, it's actually Our Inner Essences group. And if you have something like this, like how I'm doing now, to share, please do. And if you watch this on my YouTube channel later on, I'll post the link to this page and everything. So, yeah. And www.theinneressence is the website, and that is where all of my services are and everything else is at. And, you know, why I'm doing this, why I do what I do, and the people and the other missions I collaborate with, and just everything is there, along with this Facebook page. But, yeah, that's what I have for everyone on grounding, and I hope that everyone's able to take something from this, because there's a lot of chaotic energy coming through. You know, all of this feminine energy is finally waking up, and everyone's like, all right, let's just go everywhere, do everything. I have all this power, I have this knowing, and let's just stay there. and it's just like with being in the masculine energy too long. It's being in the feminine energy is, you know, you gotta bring it into balance. You know, you're up there, you think you don't need to, but we are in this physical world. Or if you don't believe in it, try to open your mind up a little bit. Try to open your awareness up a little bit. And, you know, and I'm here with you through it. You're never alone. You're not going through anything ever alone. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. You're always loved. You're always important. You are always here for a reason, even when it doesn't feel like it. You're always supported, and you have my love. I don't care who you are or what you've done. In my experience, in my reality, in any past life, I love you. And, you know, each and every single one of you individually. And, you know, so, how long do I recommend to ground? All the time, if you can. But if you struggle with being grounded, do a meditation on it. You know, practice it. Practice, you know, once you get the feeling of being grounded down, you'll be able to do it like that. But one way to ground is doing a meditation on it. And this is my favorite. This was my favorite meditation to meditate with on grounding before I knew, you know, had an understanding of everything. I'd picture my spine being a tree branch or a tree trunk, and growing roots and growing into the ground and into the earth and hanging on to earth. And picturing mud, like thick, earthy, red mud coming up to like about here, because this is where our lower chakras end, and anchoring me down into earth. And in finding the balance, you picture light, white light coming down and meeting it halfway, and there you go, you're grounded. And you know, once you begin to get the feel of being grounded, you'll know when you'll be able to, you know, say, oh, I'm not grounded, or I'm too grounded, so I need to bring it back. I need to come back to the present moment and just be here now. And because this is where everything gets done. You know, everything gets done here, right now. And if we're up there or down there, nothing's happening here. You know, nothing's progressing, nothing's growing, truly. And, you know, I experienced a really stagnant time by not bringing the balance in. And now everything's happening, everything's coming to fruition. And it's beautiful, and I'm thankful and grateful. And when grounded, you know, how you know you're grounded and truly in the present moment is you do feel blissful, you feel peaceful, and you feel grateful. And you see the magic and the beauty that Earth is. And, oh yes, of course, you can pray as well too. If you can't meditate, pray. You know, ask, say, or do it. If you're gonna pray about being grounded, do it in a way that it's already happening. Like, say, I am grounded right now. I am grounded in my physical reality. I am connected to Earth. You know, there's all kinds of affirmations that you can look up online and write them down and have them there for when you need to ground. And that's another great way of grounding too, is writing down some affirmations of what it feels like to be grounded, and when you don't feel that way, saying them and doing what you can to be grounded. And yeah, if you like floating too much, you don't want to get jolted back down. You know, if you don't like being jolted and finding out something happened that was undesirable, or finding out that you thought you were transcending a disease, but really you were making yourself have one, you know, something like that. I mean, it's dangerous when you don't, you know, ground the energy. This is a wire. You got to ground that energy so you can put it to use. And yeah, so you will feel it. You'll feel the grounded sense of just amazingness. And it's super easy. Just don't let your mind complicate it. Our mind, you know, that's being too grounded. Our mind likes to complicate things and make things a lot more complex than they really are. And you know, that's being too grounded. So, or not grounded enough. I guess that goes both ways. You kind of go up the light spectrum, and then you find out you're in the lower spectrum, and vice versa. I love how it's kind of like the infinity symbol, where you put something at the end of it, it's bound to come right back. That's kind of like the same way of going up and down. And you know, residing in the middle, being the bridge, allows you to, I mean, there's anything is possible when you're in the present moment. Anything. There's so much possibility, so much power that you have, and bliss and happiness that's available when we're in this present moment. So, alright, that's what I have for everybody. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment on this. If you're if you're on my YouTube channel watching this, feel free to comment below, and I'll answer, you know, your questions. If you are on my Facebook page watching this, then feel free to message me if you have any questions about grounding. So, I hope that all do. Thank you all so much for coming here and being here and staying here and being here on Earth. And thank you all for sharing this video, inviting your friends, and just all that you have done and all that you have done for me. Just thank you. Thank you for being you. I appreciate you all, every single one of you. Now, namaste.